Thank you for your patience. I'm setting up the live via YouTube. Okay, we're good to go. Thank you for your patience. I'm setting up the live via YouTube. Good evening. Welcome to the Humphries Elementary Go Team meeting, where we will follow the agenda as it has been emailed to you and publicly noticed. I would like to remind everyone that this is a meeting of the Go Team. The Humphries Elementary Go Team meeting, where we will follow the agenda as it has been emailed to you and publicly noticed. I would like to remind everyone that
Ms. Smith, check the volume on YouTube.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Marshall. Okay. Any members of the public present are here to quietly observe. For members of the Go Team, please identify yourself when you speak. I am pleased to call this meeting of the Humphries Go Team to order at 4:33 p.m. Our first order of business is to call roll. The secretary will now take the roll.
Please respond present when your name is called. Jaron Trimble,
It's Jerron, but I'm here.
Mr. Trimble, Ms. Smith,
Here.
Mr. Marshall,
Here.
Ms. Wright,
Present.
Ms. Reese Kelly,
Present.
Ms. Tia Barnes is not present, and Ms. Arquita Taylor is not present.
This team will only be able to take official action if a quorum is present. Mrs. Campbell, is there a quorum present?
Yes, ma'am. We have 5 members here, and that is a quorum.
Thank you. Our first order of business is to approve the agenda. This was provided to you and copies were emailed to you this week. Are there any changes to the agenda? May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Asher, motion to approve.
A second?
A second.
All in favor, please say aye so the secretary can record your vote. Or you may use the reaction button to put a thumbs up so that Ms. Campbell can record your vote. All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Okay, it has been so moved and properly seconded to approve the agenda. We will now proceed. We will now move to filling the open community member seat. Before we begin the process, I'd like to remind the Go Team of the following. The principal brings forth the nominations for the vacant and open community member seats. All Go Team members have only 1 vote per seat. Individuals filling a vacant seat will serve until the conclusion of the seat's term. Individuals filling an open seat will serve for the full 2-year term. Upon approval, individuals are immediately full Go Team members and may join the meeting. We will now move to fill the open community member seat. This person will serve on the Go Team for a full 2-year term. Mr. Trimble, do you have a nomination for the open community member seat?
I nominate Mr. Michael Charles.
Mr. Charles, would you like to share a bit about yourself with the Go Team?
Yes, I would. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, let me start by saying my profession is a paramedic. I've worked at Grady Hospital for over 26 years, 27 years. Uh, I live in College Park. I was an alumni of Humphries Elementary School from 1961 to 1964. And as of late, I have participated in Career Day, uh, Back to School Backpack Day, summer camp, those sorts of things. Haven't been as involved since the COVID, of course,
Mhm.
because of the limited engagement, but looking forward to getting back to serving.
Thank you, Mr. Charles. Does anyone have any comments or discussions about this nominee? I would like to add that Mr. Michael Charles came highly recommended by our school counselor, Ms. Gowan, as well as our assistant principal, Ms. Todd Johnson, definitely highlighting his role in supporting Humphries as he has mentioned. Thank you, Go Team. We will now proceed to vote on the nomination of Mr. Michael Charles for the community member seat. All in favor, please use your reaction button with a thumbs up to say aye. All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Thank you. Motion approved. Thank you, Mr. Michael Charles, and welcome to the Humphries Go Team. Glad to have you.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
We will now review and approve the meeting minutes from our last meeting. The meeting minutes have been provided to you. Are there any corrections? Okay, and while you all are doing that, I will actually pull up the meeting minutes.
Did you ask for any corrections for the minutes, Ms. Smith?
No, I did not. While I'm pulling up the minutes, are there any corrections? I want to give everybody a chance to view them.
I just have a correction for my name. It's Kelley.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. Okay, I'm now going to stop share. Are there any other corrections? If there are no further corrections, may I have a motion to approve the previous meeting's minutes?
Asha motion to approve.
A second?
A second.
All in favor, please use your reaction button to respond to say aye. All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Please say abstain. Okay. This motion has been properly moved and seconded. We are now ready to move forward. We will now move to the discussion items on our agenda. Our two discussion items first begin with Mr. Trimble presenting information around the continuous improvement plan, followed by the fall 22 MAP data.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to, Ms. Smith, can you enable screen share?
Yes, sir.
So what I'm sharing now is it's a lot of information, but please, please, please stop me for any questions that you might have, any suggestions, comment, anything. Please do not hesitate to stop at the point of your concern. Okay, where we are, our strategic plan is the guide for the work that we're doing in the school. The strategic plan is located in the archive section on the school's website for the Go team. So it's readily available. The continuous improvement plan will be put there. I don't think it's there just yet, but it will be there as well. Timeline for Go teams. The timeline is there for you. And we are currently here. We'll take a look at some school data and look at the school's strategic priorities located in our continuous improvement plan. So tonight's discussion items, we'll take a look at the strategic plan, which I think we briefly looked at last meeting as well. Then look at our continuous improvement plan and take a look at our SMART goals, which are just 3 this year. And we'll talk about those goals and some of the action steps that the school is doing to reach those goals. And then again, we'll look at some MAP data from this fall. Okay, so the strategic plan. Ms. Smith, does the strategic plan come up? Do I need to do a new share?
It came up.
Okay. So this is the school strategic plan. And then please notice that it says 2022 through 2025, because that coincides with the district's strategic plan. Okay, so what you see here is school strategic priorities, and then the strategies that's going to bring us to those priorities and to those goals. And of course, improving the percentage of students achieving proficiency in distinguished in milestones. Those are both content areas, ELA and mathematics. Those are our primary goals. We're going to fully implement the district's intervention initiative, build systems to promote social and emotional awareness of students, build teacher capacity in core content areas, recommend highly qualified staff for vacant positions, reduce barriers to school attendance, and decrease chronic absenteeism, which is really huge for our school, and support the social, emotional, behavioral, and mental well-being of our students. And I'm going to read the strategies, but there's some of the strategies are there for you to take a look at. And again, this is on the school's website under the Go Team section. Okay, so this is a root cause analysis where we take one of the strategies and then one of our needs, and we continue to ask questions based on that need until we get to a root cause, or what we feel is the root cause of what is a barrier for us achieving these goals. And again, those are there for everyone to read. Okay, so just a little context. The school strategic plan was completed the 2021-22 school year, which was last year, but the data that was used was based on the 18-19 school year. And then, so the gap there is our COVID years, and that's the gap. And so if you look at some of these questions and answers, it's a little different, but that's where you see. So if we look at, did you achieve or make progress toward the goals identified in your strategic plan? What evidence and data did you have? And so this was the previous strategic plan. And it says, yes, we progressed toward the goals identified in our strategic plan. On the 2019 Georgia milestones, we increased proficient learners from 16% to 20% in ELA and from 10% to 20% in mathematics. And so during the 18-19 school year and the milestones of spring 20, both ELA and math were at 20% proficiency. And so that is where we're aiming for and beyond this school year. Okay, so again, based on our 18-19 school data, the strengths were, again, we increased the number of proficient in learners in both ELA and math. We increased the number of proficient and distinguished learners in science. So our fifth graders take science, and that's where we had the biggest increase there. And we implemented weekly data meetings for ELA and math in all grade levels. So this was the opportunities that that particular group saw was to obtain a greater increase in proficiency in learners in ELA and mathematics. And that's pretty much going to be consistent from year to year, because we the school district's goals are roughly 50% for both ELA and math. So until we get to those numbers, we're going to continue to, that's going to be an opportunity for us. To obtain a greater literacy score as measured by CCRPI, and so literacy score is a score that schools receive based on the lexile of our students that take the milestone. And so how that number goes is really how your literacy, your ELA score goes. And then improve our students' writing efficiency through explicit writing instruction as measured by write score and the end of grade. And so these were our school strategic plan. Are there any questions on this plan?
Ms. Wright has raised her hand. Ms.
Okay,
Wright, you have the floor.
good to see you, Ms. Wright.
Hi, Mr. Trimble. Good to see you. I just had a question about what is the goal that we're trying to achieve this year in terms of our ELA and math percentages? Do we have that? Or if you
Yes.
tell me, my apologies.
No. Yes, we do have it.
Oh.
So for ELA, last school year, so the spring of 22, our students achieved at 13% proficiency.
Okay.
This school year, we're aiming for 21%.
Okay. I like that aim.
Okay, and so for mathematics, last school year, our students scored at 9% proficiency. And this school year, we're aiming for 20%.
Mm. Okay. All right. That's good to know. I like those numbers. Any way we can help or I can help, definitely.
And so we'll show you some data that's a little more promising for ELA. And then we know that we have our work cut out for us for mathematics.
Finance major, so maybe I can try to help out in any way.
Okay, all right, thank you. Any other questions here? Okay. Okay, so let me go back to our PowerPoint. I'm sorry. Okay, there you go. So that was our strategic plan. Now we're going to go into our continuous improvement plan. Again, we will get this uploaded because it is quite lengthy. I'm going to do my best to kind of bring out the most details and kind of walk us along in an expedient manner. However, we will post it and so that you can go through it more thoroughly. Okay, so these strengths and opportunities are based on our 2022 spring milestone. So a couple of the strengths that we had were students scoring developing above in 3rd grade mathematics was
Mr.
above
Trimble,
school.
I'm
Yes.
sorry. Are you sharing your screen? Because
Okay, I'm not sharing. Hold on. Okay.
thank you.
I'm sorry. You can see it now, Ms. Smith.
Yes, thank you.
Okay,
Can you
all right.
enlarge it just a little on your end? Thank you. Perfect.
Okay. Okay, so the strengths and opportunities on this page are from our spring 22 milestones. And so as far as strengths, students scoring developing or above in 3rd grade mathematics was above school and district averages. We could have added that as well, but our 3rd grade students scoring developing and above. And so just a brief breakdown on the performance bands for milestones. Those students that score in the beginning band, those are our beginning learners. And then there's a band between beginning and proficiency, and that is developing. And so those students that are in developing are almost at proficiency. And so the thought there is with a little more instruction and tutorial and assistance that those students get to proficiency. So last year, our 3rd grade students for proficient and above was at 70%. And again, if you look at it as developing and above, that exceeded district averages as well. And our 5th grade students meeting or exceeding their ELA growth goals as measured by MAP. So they exceeded school averages. So MAP is another assessment that we have. And so you have our milestones, which is given at the end of the year, and then MAP is given 3 times out a year. And so our strengths on the MAP was our 5th grade ELA students. And unfortunately, those students have moved on to middle school, and so we can't count on them. And so we're building the capacity of our other 3 through 5 learners. So some opportunities and challenges that we have, and again, to increase the number of proficient learners in ELA and mathematics, to increase the literacy score, those Lexile bands that we spoke of, to improve our students' writing. The ELA portion of the milestones is 53% reading and 47% writing. And so it's roughly 50-50. So while we have to improve the reading, we have to do just as much work in improving writing as well. And then to decrease the number of students that are chronically absent. And so last year, the percentage of our students that were chronically absent was 48.1%. So again, roughly half of our students were chronically absent. And chronically absent, as measured by milestones, is more than 10% of the days that they're enrolled. And so those were some of the challenges last year. And so that leads us to some of the needs that we have. Improved for literacy, it was improved guided reading strategies and consistent implementation of guided reading, and increased phonics instruction in 3rd grades, but throughout kindergarten, 1st and 2nd. But explicit phonics instruction is new to 3rd grade this year. For numeracy, it was improved fact fluency and procedural fluency to support automaticity, and increase opportunities for application of skills in the real world context. And in whole child and student support, improve communication with parents about absences and tardies, and improve monitoring of students approaching and being chronically absent. Okay. Any questions there? Okay. So this is the meat and the crux of the continuous improvement plan. We're going to go through the rest of it, but I probably will not be as detailed because, again, it's a lot of information. But we'll post it, and if you have any specific questions or concerns, by all means, please let me know. Okay. This is another similar to a root cause analysis, where we take that question or problem statement, and then we ask questions in order to get to the root. Okay. So Ms. Wright asked about our school goals. Increase the percentage of students in grades 3 through 5 scoring, and that was 13 to 18%. I think we rounded up to 20, but 13 to 18%. Mathematics from 9 to 20%. But this one decreased the percentage of students who are chronically absent from 48.3, I think I said 48.1, but 48.3% to 30%. Okay, and so the rest of the document is made up of mainly action steps. What the school is and its teams are doing to bring us closer to those goals. And so here on this one, you see implementing district initiative intervention programs, using the prescribed curricula, developing calendars, so on and so forth, and then the person responsible. we really work as a team here. However, for this particular document, there only has to be one person here. And so as you can see, Ms. Smith is heavily involved. Ms. Smith, Ms. Wilson, who is our educational technology specialist, Ms. Sumlin, our parent liaison, Ms. Cole, who is our signature program coach. She has a lot that she's ultimately responsible for. And then Ms. Gowan, who is our school counselor. And I think we probably need to make a change on some of those names to include Mr. Marshall, our school social worker. And that is pretty much it. The rest of us signature pages and things like that. But are there any questions about the continuous improvement plan? Okay.
I don't have a question, Mr. Trimble, but I do have a comment or a suggestion. I know that a lot of kids are struggling with the reading part, and I know you guys took out most of the intervention process and, you know, focus more on the ones that are, you know, needing the help the most. I know we have a problem with getting kids school on time, but like an extra 30 minutes, 20 minutes of reading or, you know, focus skills. I know you just mentioned that briefly, but, you know, in the mornings or, you know, something in between.
Yeah, good to have you, Ms. Barnes. I'm glad to hear from you. You know, time is, you know, a constant battle for us. We you know, even with the district adding 30 minutes to the elementary school day, they also added what we're prescribed to do during that 30 minutes. And so it didn't really give us much more time. And so we really, with everything that we have to get in with our standards of service, so the schools are prescribed what we have to do. Got to have this many minutes of ELA, this many minutes of math, so on and so forth. It would be tough to get any other time explicitly for reading. So what we do, Ms. Barnes, of course, we have the district prescribed intervention block. And so that's 30 minutes. The 30 minutes that they made the day longer, they give us that 30 minutes that we have to do an intervention block. But what we also do is we take a look at science and social studies through the lens of literacy. So a lot of the skills that you would see in reading, like main ideas, supporting details, finding the theme, so on and so forth. We use informational text in the science and social studies to kind of reinforce those same skills. So that's one way that we can kind of add a little bit to the day. But we do need an increased practice for reading. And so that's one of the things is as we build our family engagement and we get parents and families in the building, we stress that they not just homework, but they listen to their children read. And it's one thing to set aside a time and a space for them to read, but to listen to them read, hear their fluency, hear if they're actually comprehending. And so doing that also with math with their fact families, you know, do they know their multiplication facts if that's appropriate, or do they know their addition and subtraction facts if that's appropriate? So we're kind of maxed out here during the day, but even if parents were to use 30 minutes a night alternating between reading and math, that would definitely help us. Okay. So these are, so you've seen the goals, 20% or 20% literacy, 20% numeracy. So what do we use as monitoring measures? So in the interim, because that's an end of the year test, what do we use to see if we're on the right track? And so MAP, as I mentioned, is an interim assessment. We take MAP 3 times a year. We took it in August. We will take it next month in November, and then again in March, or is it March or April?
It's March.
It's March, and then again in March. And so that will kind of provide us with some measures to see how effective our practices have been. For whole child, which is really our attendance, the APSgraphs.com, that gives us a lot of information about how our students are doing with attendance. And so we can really see each student, how their attendance patterns are, and then what we need to do and to improve their attendance for the year. Okay, so this is some data for our first MAP administration in the fall. And so we do this first one primarily to get us some baseline data. And then we will do our next one in November to see how far our students have grown. But one thing that the district is doing this year is comparing the fall of last year. So last year we took it, and last year was in September. We took it in September. This year we took it in August, but we're comparing how the students scored last September to how they scored this August. Okay, and so what you see here is that comparison. So the first graph here is math. Okay, and so if you see last August or last September, 61% of our students were in the beginning level. This August, when they took it, 48% of our students were at the beginning level. So we improved and shifted 13% of those students over to the developing area. Okay, so ELA, I'm sorry. 54% last year, 54% this year. So we did not make the gains that we wanted to in improving our beginning level students. However, let's take a look at our green, which is proficient. Last year, it was at 13%. This year, it's at 20%. And so we're moving students in the right direction there. And so these are all projections. However, if these projections hold or even improve, we will definitely meet our goal for ELA. So here's 20%, our goal was 20%, we're good to go. But conversely, we're only at 6% for math, and again, our goal was 20%. And so we still have some work to do. This last graph here is MAP fluency. And so that is a screener for our kindergarten and first grade students. And I shared just earlier that, so last year, 73% of our students were flagged. However, this year, only 51% of our students were flagged, which is a 22% increase. And this is mainly, in my opinion, and there is definitely data to back it up. Last year, our first grade students had not been to school in person. But this year, our kindergarten from last year, they are stronger fourth graders. And so because they are stronger first graders, that number decreased. And again, this is map data from August, and there's very little instruction that takes place between the time the students come and they do this first one. What's really going to be telling is our next, I'm not sure if we'll have it by our next meeting, but maybe the next 2 meetings is when we look at our growth data. And that's going to tell us if our students are growing. Any questions about any of these data? Okay. So some of the questions is, what do you notice? What are your wonderings? What additional questions that you have? Okay, if none, I can say, oh, Ms. Wright, you got something?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I noticed that we're moving in the right direction, and that was it.
Yes, we are. We are moving in the right direction. I will say though, the Humphries team, we are a bunch of overachievers, and it doesn't sit well with us. And so we're doing all we can. We're doing all we can. We want to be the best.
It shows that, so we're in good hands.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. So this is a quote here, strategic planning will help you fully uncover your available options, set priorities for them, and define them and the methods to achieve them. Okay, where we're going at our next meeting, and that's, I kind of said that, you know, I'm not sure if it'll take place at our next meeting. I'm not sure if we'll have the data back, but within the next 2 meetings, we can take a look at that growth data and see where we are. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trimble, for those discussion items. We will now move on to the information items as printed in our meeting agenda. And we'll first start with the principal's report, which includes the fall ACEs, and then followed by rezoning information.
Okay, so you all have seen the data, but I do want to show you, if you have taken a look at any of the Board of Education meetings, there is a section in those meetings now that they term soft G, and that is student outcome focused governance. So for about 90 minutes at each board meeting, the board asked Dr. Herring and others how our students are progressing and what they need to continue to progress. And so the Dr. Herring and some of the other chiefs kind of do the same thing for us. So principals have to go before Dr. Herring and the chiefs and kind of do the same thing. And so I'll go through ours quickly. Let's see. Okay, I'll have to. Okay. Okay, so this is some different demographic information. Our school enrollment is up 11 students over last year. And with that increase came additional funding. And so that's good. We have 2 first-year teachers and 1 vacancy in Spanish. We have 17 ELL students, and that's students of English language learners. And we have 29 students with disabilities. 15 of those students are in our regional MOID units. And for gifted, that's less than 10 students. Okay. Our attendance take rate, and this is the attendance take rate, is how teachers actually take attendance. And we have 99.4. But I think we figured that out, why that's not at 100, but we figured it out now. And then the students not chronically absent. So last year at this time, we had 57.2% of our students that were chronically absent. This year at this time, it's 78.2% of our students chronically absent. And just as I told the ACES team yesterday, this really is a testament to Mr. Marshall and the work that he's doing with attendance. He really spearheads this and he's passionate about it. And so we definitely thank him for that. Our suspension rates, these numbers, they equate to 3 students in 5 days. So it's not a whole lot. In those particular situations, we had to go with the student handbook and go as it prescribed. These data, you saw them at a previous slide. This is the school's intervention. And this is just that saying that our students get on the intervention platform with the dosage that the district has told us, required us to do, and we do that 2 days a week. And we just said currently Humphries was well supported, which we are, and we will reach out if anything is needed. What you see here is our last year end of grade performance, but we kind of went over that in the slide. 9% for math, 13% for ELA. And we don't have any subgroups. Right now we have less than 10 in any of our subgroups. And so that is the ACES. So if you're ever asked, you can kind of speak to that. But again, even if you ever look at any of the Board of Education meetings, Dr. Herring goes through a similar process to the Board of Education. Our next topic for discussion was the rezoning. There is going to be rezoning here that will impact Humphries. There is a subdivision being built right to the rear of the school, Browns Mill Village. Browns Mill Village is affordable or mostly affordable homes being built by Habitat for Humanity. So Habitat for Humanity is building 75 homes. And then there's a private developer that is building 59 homes. The private developer will be building market rate homes. And so whatever they sell for is what they sell for. Whereas Habitat for Humanity, their homes will be affordable housing. That being said, so between Browns Mill Village and the Broadland subdivision, which is on Jonesboro Road, and then there's another smaller subdivision on Jonesboro Road, Humphries can look to have, over the next 3 to 5 years, an increase of 100 students. which is good. That will not have us with any capacity issues, like we can comfortably have that many students. But it also comes with more resources, and there's nothing that can be better than that. And so you can look for those things to happen with the next 3 to 5 years. Right now, Brownsville Village only has about 2 to 3 homes up, and they don't expect many more for next school year. So it may not affect our budget this year, but going forward, we probably look to see some pretty good increases as far as funds and also student enrollment. Any questions that I may be able to answer? Okay. The rezoning is going to the board in November for their first look, and then it's going to the board in December for a vote. We don't anticipate any hiccups. They've been kind of playing with it for some time. And so we don't anticipate it being any problems with the vote. Okay, Ms. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Trimble, for those information items. At this time, we are on the announcements of our agenda. Are there any announcements for the Go team? Okay. I would like to share that on this Saturday, we are excited that it's finally arrived for our first family fall festival for the community. So that will take place on this Saturday, October 29th. So if you're just free and happen to have your schedule open on Saturday, please stop by Humphries. We have a lot of engaging activities and rides and ponies and pumpkin toss, things for our students to engage with. So we're super excited. A lot of our families have prepaid and do plan on being here on Saturday. So if you have some availability in your schedule, that fall festival does run from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. Okay, so please come out, support the community, support our Humphries students. Okay. At this time, there are no other announcements that have been presented before the Go team. And so we will allow, as printed in our agenda, for public comment. Okay. Ms. Campbell, when is our next meeting?
Our next meeting will be Wednesday, November the 30th at 4:30.
Okay, so Ms. Campbell has joined me because her computer has crashed. So our next meeting, again, Ms. Campbell?
November the 30th at 4:30. That is a Wednesday. It is on the Go Team webpage.
Thank you. And that will be, of course, via Zoom. Okay, thank you, Ms. Campbell. All right, at this time, as presented on our agenda, we would allow for public comment. However, we have not received any public comment statements per our protocol, in which members of the community are allowed to submit comment via our Google form. And at this time, we have received no entries. Okay. At this time, we are at the adjournment and we have reached the end of our agenda. Is there any additional business at this time? Okay. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Adjourn.
A second?
Second.
All in favor, please use your reaction button or just a thumbs up to vote yes. All opposed, please raise your hand. Any abstentions, please say abstain. Okay. Meeting is adjourned. All right, at this time, I am going to stop the live stream.